Okay, so the way that we work, and the reason I'm doing this a bit backwards is Receipt Bank is our purchase invoice capture software. So it's where you can put in all your company expenditure. The reason I love Receipt Bank is because once you set it up once for a customer, it will, a supplier, sorry, it will automatically post all your purchases into Xero. And I'm going through this first because I'm going to upload some purchases onto my demo company. So while I'm doing the next section, it will upload in the background. So you can add documents in a number of ways. You can drag and drop from your computer. You can snap it on your mobile phone. So you can install a Receipt Bank app, which I've got on my phone. So if I'm out and about and like say if I get milk from the office, I just take a picture of the phone and it uploads straight onto Receipt Bank, so I don't have to keep the paperwork. You can send it through email. So like here, I've got this Rocketbooks limited copy email. So if I get a purchase invoice that comes into my inbox to those suppliers, I can then forward that straight onto this email address and Receipt Bank will process it. My favourite bit, if I open this in a new tab, is Invoice Fetch. So one thing I used to hate about doing my accounts was my mobile phone bill. I would have to remember whatever my password was last time on EE, download it, then manually upload it into Receipt Bank or print it off. But with this, you can add a connection. So if I look at the full list, NE, for example, and click connect, it will take me to a screen where I put my, where basically I put my username and password in. And what Receipt Bank will do each week is go into EE, check for any invoices, pull it out of EE, and then once I've set up my supplier preferences, it'll push it straight into Xero for me, so I don't have to touch my mobile phone bill or that supplier. And if I hit the back button here, there are loads of suppliers you can add. So I've got Wix, which used to do our websites. I'm sure BT's on there. Adobe's on there. The other one that's on there is Amazon. And if you order quite a bit of stuff on Amazon, what I would say is set up a separate business account to personal account, because if you add Amazon in, it will pull every single Amazon invoice in. So it will pull in your household goods as well as your business goods. But for me, we order quite a stuff on Amazon. It's quite a useful one to have. The main way to add costs is you can simply, if I open my, you can either select files from your computer. If I go to desktop, and open, and what you can see is, excuse, that one failed one is because it I've used this invoice before, but in processing now, it's now extracting all the information ready to go into Xero. So that's Receipt Bank, just adding items. If we go into Xero, I'm just going to go through an overview of the settings, and then we'll spend some time mainly in the invoice settings for sales invoices, and then I'll run through raising a sales invoice in 3 different ways. So if you click on the company name, first thing I want to point out is this file section. So if you want to add a file to a sales invoice or a bank transaction, you can do it here, and you can send it to this Xero email address. You can upload it from your computer as I did for that. So if I wanted to upload this, I can open it straight in. What I find this quite useful for is if you have customers that sign some terms and conditions, or tradesmen if they've got, I can't remember the words, but extras on the job. So if, for example, a customer agrees that they want an extra 3 foot of tiling, you can put a written agreement and upload it here, and I'll show you how you can add that to an invoice in a second. The next one is we'll go through the main settings. So your organisation details are your basic settings. So you can upload a logo for your business. So I'm going to you can put your line of business. You can put your company registration number here, and you can put a company description if you wanted to. This is mainly for Xero Marketplace. You can add your telephone number, your email and your website. So if I save that. The main reason that you'd use this for would be if you had to change your address, or if you wanted a different address into your registered office and maybe your contact address. So I'll hop back into organisation settings. The next things I want to go through is invoice settings. So this is where you mainly have your invoices that you send out to customers, and the where you can edit the settings. So if you look here, because I've added a logo at the front, it will automatically add a logo here for your invoice. I can change the logo and select another one. And then what I tend to do here is, if I go through the default settings here, again here what you can do is you can set your default payment date. So it could be the 14th of the following month, or you can have 30 days after the date. Sorry, that's bills. 30 days after the invoice date. You can change your prefix. If you're starting Xero halfway through another piece of software, you can make the number 999. And then if you use it to produce quotes, you can have 30 days following after the quote date. If I then edit the standard invoice settings, what you can do here is, sorry, if I cancel this, you can preview the invoice as it is here. So so for example, what you can do here is you can remove the payment advice and cut away. If you don't have unit price, if you sell just services, you can remove the unit price. You can change your font. One thing I do, and it's just me being funny, is I always remove the reference to tax invoice. The most importantly here is you can put your terms and payment advice here. So you can put payment due within 7 days of receipt, by bank transfer, account number, sort code, and then if you provide quotes, what you can do here is you can put quote valid, and here on your quote you could put payment due within 7 days of completing works. And if you save that here, what happens then, if you preview, it puts what you put in your terms at the bottom of the invoice there. And it's just a case of playing with the invoice settings until you get something you're happy to send out to customers. The other thing that I love about the invoices on Xero is payment services. So you can add Stripe, PayPal, Go Cardless, which customers can pay you directly from the invoice. Stripe tends to be if you've got a card machine, so you can connect the card machine and take payments that way from customers. I don't tend to recommend PayPal because PayPal is quite an expensive form of payment. The other one is Go Cardless is good if you've got people on a retainer and a monthly direct debit. So once the direct debit's set up, you can send out a monthly invoice and Xero will collect the money each month without you having to chase it or the customer to having to do anything. And that's really the utopia, to have Go Cardless on direct debit, because then you're in control of the customer's payments and when you receive the money. So if I go back into invoice settings, the other great thing that I love about the invoices in Xero is invoice reminders. So you can set customers to be emailed when an invoice is 7, 14, 21 days overdue. But again, you can edit to whatever days you see fit, and you can edit these emails to what they send out. And again, you can put send reminders for under de minimis amounts. If I don't want to send reminders for anything under 20 quid, I can change that. So for this one, again, if I don't like, for example, this bill, and I can change it to your invoice. And that will change it there. The other thing is you can add 60 days notice before action. So Xero, again, you could change it to say, you know, if you don't settle this debt within the next 7 days, we will send legal fees without any notification. So if I just go back to there. The other thing you can do with invoicing, if you've got 2 trading styles, you can copy an invoice theme and have 2 different styles of invoices if you wanted to go out and have separate logos on. Okay, I think that was it with invoice settings. The only other thing I just wanted to go through with you in organisation settings is the email settings. So these are the emails that go out to customers with documents. So for a sales invoice, you know, here's invoice number for X, you bill online. If you wanted to edit this to say, be a bit more English and put please find attached and dear. And for example, if it's only one person that sends out the invoices, you can save this to how you want to. The other one is statements. So if you have customer statements that you send out once a month, here you can put these notes And again, so you can put a payment sort of reminder. You could even put your bank details on that invoice that went with the statement. So every time a customer gets a touch point, they've got your bank details on. If I then go into the first thing I'm going to run through is doing a quote on Xero. So I'm just going to do, so if I create a new quote, and I'm going to create this to client number 2. I'm backdate this to the 1st of April 2020 because of the demo data I've got, and you can put an expiry, and whenever you've got an expiry or a due date, you can put 30 days or you can put plus 7 days. Reference, you can put whatever you like in here as the reference if they've got an external order number you need. So in this one, I'm just going to do a quote for additional work, £2,000, 2 sales. And then here, what you can also do is you can attach a file from the library. So for example, this one I added earlier. And then what you can do is you can, again, tick here to include with quotes. So again, if this could work with tradesmen that maybe they were out on a client visit and they'd done a quote and they'd written measurements and everything else, and they wanted the client to see how that was broken down, you can add it here. Again, you can change the term. It brings up the defaults from the invoice settings that I put in earlier. But again, here you could edit it however you like. You can add a title and summary, so you could put Project X and a description here. So I'm going to send this, and I've set up a new Xero email address here. Right, so I'm going to send this to spotlight0@gmail.com, and I'm going to send this quote. So if we go into the quote section here, it has it as sent. And then if we have a look here, why won't it go on to? And this is how the quote comes through to the customer. Then what I can do here as the customer is I can go in, I can comment on the quote back. Oh, it's expired because I've put it at the wrong date. Sorry, that's me being a. I edit this. If I copy it to a new quote. So if I do it today and send it again. So I go back into my inbox, sorry, start again, it's because I've backdated it. So I can click in here. I can comment, I can accept, or I can decline the quote. So if I click accept, and then I go back into my Xero here and go into quotes. You can see this now has been accepted. And what that does, it puts an email stamp on. So if you've got a customer that sometimes queries prices, you can send the quote out, it's been accepted, it's been email stamped. And then when when you finish the work, you can just tick it and create an invoice and mark it as invoiced. And then what you can do is just approve the invoice and email it out to the client. So if you're dealing with quotes and invoices, the idea is you only need to input the information once. The other thing you can do with an invoice is you can just create one straight from Xero. So I'm going to create one for client number 3. Description, the unit price, £4,000 to sales, and then I can approve and email it straight to the client. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I haven't added the client, so I need to add an address. If I do a quick find address to Xero Marketplace. Right, now I've put an address in for the client and contact details, I can email the client. The other thing with invoicing, if I go back to the sales invoices, is if you have people on a retainer or a monthly invoice, you can create a new repeating invoice. So in this situation, I'm going to create one for every 1 month. I'm going to do it from the 1st to the 4th, 2020, because of the data I've got in the demo system. Next invoice date has already occurred, that's fine. I'm going to send that to client 2. The reference can be retainer. And then what you can do here is where this insert placeholder comes in, I can put the month and the year. I put it £1,000 plus VAT each month, 2 sales. And then if I approve for sending here, you can preview the placeholders here, so it will show you what it's been put in. If I click save here, what then will happen each month is Xero will generate an invoice to client number 2 every month for £1,000 plus VAT. You can also, if I do it again, if I go into new repeating invoice, if you've got something that a client that you have to invoice every month, but the amount differs, I would always put it as save as draft. So for example, if we do it from the 1st of, and if I do it to client number 3, sales with VAT. If I click save here, what it does is it puts in the draft invoice box here. So you then know, you can then remember to invoice all your clients, because sometimes when you've got retainers that are odd amounts each month, sometimes you forget to put everyone in there. Okay, so I'm going to hop back over to Receipt Bank now, because with a bit of luck, my inbox should be full of those receipts that I uploaded. Well, they've got some of them, some in processing. Right, So what I'm going to do here is to get items into Receipt Bank from Xero. Basically, what happens when you first use Receipt Bank is you'll have this like error screen, because basically the one thing you do need to do with Receipt Bank is tell it what to do with regards to Xero. So if I then, the way that I tend to use Receipt Bank is I go to suppliers on the left hand side, and then I filter by suppliers in the inbox. So if you look here, we've got Amazon that is in the inbox. So if I then click on Amazon here, I then click onto auto publish. That means that every time something comes through from into Receipt Bank from Amazon, Receipt Bank can automatically push it into Xero. I'm going to put it into stationery because most of my stuff is stationery. I am then going to publish to purchases. I'm going to be published to awaiting payment. And then what I need to do then is I just need to go to the 3 that are in the inbox. And if you look, they're all ready to publish now. They're green because I've told Receipt Bank what to do with it. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to put publish. And then all those items will then be pushed into Xero. And now once I've done that for Amazon, everything will automatically go in. I'm just going to see if any more. And at the moment, I've got nothing in the inbox because everything else is publishing. I'm frustrated that those haven't. I think because I've put some of these on before, it's automatically published in. So if you look here, for example, with utility warehouse, which is my electricity and gas, I need to put that onto light heat and powering. But again, like with this, what it knows now is every time a utility warehouse bill comes into Xero, it needs to go to light, heat and power, it needs to go to purchase, it needs to go to awaiting payment. It's really important that awaiting payments put in, otherwise it will send it into draft and you'll have to approve it every time, which can be a bit of a pain in the backside. So that's the main thing with Receipt Bank. I have got a Loom video to show Receipt Bank in more detail if you want it. So I'm now going to run over my favourite bit of Xero, which is the bank account and the bank reconciliation. So I'm going to go into the current account, and you can go from this on your dashboard as well. And just click on the reconcile 21 items. Now, the first thing to do when it comes to Xero is you can click on this green Get Bank Feeds button, and that will connect to your bank and will automatically pull the receipts and payments in from your bank account. Now I haven't done this because this is a fictitious company, and again it's really useful for us if you've got your bank feeds live, because then we are both looking at live data. The only other thing with your bank feeds to point out is since the open banking rules came through and some changes in EU legislation, you do have to update your bank feeds every 90 days. And if you don't keep on top of that, your bank feeds drop and then you end up with days missing on your bank feeds. Xero does give you like a 14-day warning, I think it is. So if you do get a warning to update your bank feeds, please just do it. So here, the way that the bank reconciliation is designed is on a game of snap. The left-hand side are the transactions that have come in from your bank account, and the right-hand side, it's saying, where do I put it into Xero? The first thing you need to check is the statement balance here is the balance as per the bank. So you need to check that with your bank statements. If it's different, then obviously there's a problem with the feeds and some transactions aren't coming in. And the balance on Xero is the balance of all the processed transactions. Okay, so, and it's basically going through your bank reconciliation and matching it up to what you've put into Receipt Bank or your invoices. So for example here, what it's done here is 1st of April 2020, it's saying, is it this client here? And then it will give you 7 other matches. So I'm going to cancel that, and it is that invoice. So here what it's saying is we've had £1,200 in from the bank. Is it invoice 1001? And it is, and I'm going to press OK. Then the next one is this client number 2. This is 2,400 here, the 2,400 from this invoice. And this is why I was trying to get the invoice dated on the 1st of April to get my bank to agree, but it is that one. It's confirm that. Okay. Then the next item I've got is savings accounts. If you've got transfers between bank accounts, you click transfer to the savings account. If you've got more than one, so Peter, if you've got Stripe and we set Stripe up as a bank account, you'll have it here to do it where Stripe and the current account have transfers. You do it here. Okay. The next sort of handy trick that I like is where you've got regular transactions, you can create a bank rule. So for example, if bank charges you don't necessarily have an invoice for, so what we can do is we can create a rule each month for Xero to post this to bank charges. So I'm going to go to options here and create a bank rule. And what I'm going to do is if the PAYE contains bank charges, because if you say equals, I know that when bank charges come through a feed, they put the month in. So Xero will be looking for those exact wording. So if we put contains, I'm going to put this contact to Lloyd's because it's Lloyd's Bank. I'm going to put this to bank fees. I'm going to set the reference and the payee. So what that will do is that will just copy what's come across from the bank statement. You can set it on the current account or all bank accounts. And I'm going to give the rule a title of bank charges and click save. And then what it's saying here is, can I apply this rule for bank charges? And I'm going to press OK. And then, for example, directors' salaries is another one that you could maybe select a bank rule. So I'm going to create a bank rule. Contains directors' wages. I'm going to have this as the contact as the director. I'm going to put this to directors' remuneration. Oh, sorry, directors' remuneration. If you've got salary runs, obviously that will go to the net pay account. The reference from the payee, I'm going to just have this on the current account and click save. And my internet's having a moment. There we go. And then if you look here, it's looking, is that a director's wages? And you press OK. Now, if you look here, this is the Amazon receipt that's published through from Receipt Bank. And I'm going to press OK because it's that invoice there. Now, there might be occasions, for instance, where you've lost a receipt and you need to make some commentary for us to help you with. There's a discuss option here. And what you can put is maybe this was personal. Really don't know what to do with it. And if you click save, and then we can log on and see and help you out. If I go through here, another transfer, it's saying, does that match that invoice there? And you can see the other Amazon invoices have come through from Receipt Bank that have been published. Let's picking up the director's wages. I'm going to show you one more thing, sorry, is if you want to post directly, so this is the dividends, I can put director and post to dividends and press OK. That's to savings. It's picked at the bank rule again. And the idea is that you just clear all these transactions down till the bank account comes down to 0. What I always say is I always use this as my sort of to-do list with my accounts. And then if we just hop on to the savings account, so you can change your bank account up here. Oh, I haven't put the bank feeds in. If I I'm just trying to think if what would normally happen is the bank feeds will come in, but what you can see here on the transaction tab is the transfers have come through from the other way. Has anyone got any questions with the bank reconciliation screen? No? Okay, so when basically the way Xero then works is if this, I'm just going to quickly code this up to get rid of the there's no big ones here, is there? Right. I think that's most of it. Okay. So once your bank reconciliation is clear, the two reports that I would then look at next is your age receivable summary. And what this shows is your outstanding sales invoices. And then there is your age payable summary. So again, this shows all the money that you owe. And again, what this looks for is sometimes if you've put an invoice on receipt bank, but then you've marked it as a bank payment on Xero, sometimes that shows up as a amount outstanding. Then where Xero comes into its own, and what I like, and I've based this, we can then develop a report for you where if I go in, you can then run a profit and loss account. You can then run a balance sheet. You can then, we can then go to one step further, and a lot of business owners, what they sometimes worry about is how much tax they've got to pay and how much their dividends are. So again, for example, we can design something like this that shows you in this example, and I need to change my formula because I've just didn't do it with any figures. Like if you look here, the profit before tax is 12,294. It will then do an estimated corporation tax of 9,958, and then like it'll put the dividends of £2,000. It's adding them on instead of taking them off, but then it will give you a retained figure, a profits figure. So here you can keep an eye on the two figures here, which is the estimated tax, and if you've got any profits left for dividends. I can edit that and email you to see when it's right. I was trying to put it through with no figures on. But if you look here, and then you can do it by the month as well. So if we do like here in this month, you can see April you made £3,000. There are also other reports where you can see your profit and loss account by month. Is it this one? Here, so you can compare periods. So I can do April 2020, compare, if I do, sorry, August 20 with 3 periods, update, and it will give you a profit and loss account by month. The other one that clients find quite useful is the Cashmere Report. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, where's all my money gone? I do April 2020. It can show you, this is just based on cash in and out. So again, here you can see your VAT. So there's £585 worth of VAT you've had in on that point. It's always quite a useful one to point out dividends. And it just gives a cash movement, because business owners sometimes find it easier to talk in cash than in profit, if that makes sense. Just trying to think if there's any other reports. No, the profit and loss and the balance sheet are the main ones. And like the beauty with the profit and loss, for example, is if we do, say for April 2020, and you can compare with 4 periods on here. So if you're looking at trends, what you can do here is think, oh gosh, postage and stationery, what did I spend on that? You can drill down into postage and stationery, and it'll give you a breakdown what's in it. You think, well, what did I spend £57 on at Amazon? Oh, bad example there, sorry, because I've forced that one through. What did I spend here, for example? And then Receipt Bank puts a copy of the bill through. So you can see the invoice on what you've spent. I think that was all I wanted to run through.